Welcome back for week 20 of the 2025 Bluewater Auto Restoration Deep Dive. We release new podcasts every Saturday morning. This week, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something that gleams as bright as a classic car on a sunny day. Chrome plating.
Chrome plating. Yeah, it's fascinating how many people think it's just you just dip the metal in something shiny.
Oh, right? It's like some magic potion. But it's so much more intricate than that. Our experts at Bluewater Auto Restoration, they break it down into 14 steps.
14 steps.
14 steps.
Okay. Let's unpack that a little bit. First things first, chrome plating is not dipping, as we said. It's an electroplating process. And that uses electrical currents to deposit a thin layer of metal onto another metal.
So it's more like tiny metal magnets being drawn to the surface.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Before the chrome even goes on, there's a layer of copper and then nickel underneath. And each layer serves a very specific purpose.
Like a chrome sandwich. So what does each layer do?
Well, the copper helps to create a really nice, smooth, even base for the nickel to adhere to. And the nickel, that's really the star of the show. It actually provides most of the shine in the final product.
Wait, so the chrome is not the shiniest part?
The chrome is not the shiniest part.
Who knew?
Yeah, chrome adds that final touch of brilliance and durability, but it's that nickel that really makes it pop.
That is mind-blowing. This is why I love these deep dives. You learn something new every time. So if so much depends on the nickel, the prep work must be super important.
Oh, absolutely. The majority of the time and cost involved in chrome plating is actually in the preparation. You're talking about straightening dents, sanding and polishing to a mirror, like finish.
Why so much prep work?
Well, paint can hide imperfections, but chrome can't. It acts like a mirror, reflecting every tiny flaw.
Well, that makes sense. So if you start with a dented or scratched piece, it's just going to show right through the chrome.
Exactly. Remember that 1929 Pontiac radiator shell we've talked about?
Yeah.
Imagine all the prep work that went into making that chrome shine.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. And speaking of mind-boggling, did you know that a 50s U.S. car bumper can take 6 to 8 hours just to polish?
Wow.
Can you imagine holding a 20-kilogram bumper up to a polishing wheel for that long?
That's some dedication. And it really highlights the expertise involved in chrome plating. It's not just, following the 14 steps. It's knowing how to execute each step flawlessly.
So it's a blend of science and craftsmanship. It's like carefully choreographed dance between chemistry and elbow grease.
Exactly. The quality of the chrome plating depends heavily on the skill and experience of the people doing it. Each step requires precise timing and knowledge of the chemicals involved. Speaking of the chemicals, I know some listeners might be wondering about the specifics of that electroplating process itself.
Yeah, let's break down the science a bit. How do those metal ions actually get deposited onto the part?
All right, so think of it this way. You've got a bath full of metal ions, and the part you want to chrome is submerged in it. Then you apply a low-voltage DC current. And this current attracts the metal ions in the bath to the part, and voila, they start to build up on the surface, forming that thin, shiny layer.
So they're using electricity to build up a layer of metal atom by atom.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. It's amazing how they can control the thickness and evenness of the coating just using electricity.
Yeah.
But this level of precision, expertise, it's got to come at a cost, right? Why is there such a difference in price between chrome plating jobs?
That's a great question. The truth is, cheap chrome plating often means corners are being cut. It might look okay at first, but it won't have the same depth of shine or durability as a quality job.
So it's like anything else. You get what you pay for.
Exactly. A quality chrome plating job reflects the time, expertise, and high-quality materials invested in it. And speaking of different processes, we should mention stainless steel trim repair, which sometimes gets lumped into the chroming category.
Right, because stainless steel, it doesn't actually get chrome, does it? It's already shiny.
Exactly. It's a different process altogether. It involves carefully massaging dents out of the metal and then polishing it to a mirror shine. It's like giving the metal a spa treatment.
I love that analogy. So to recap, chrome plating is this amazing multi-step process that involves, science, skill, and a whole lot of attention to detail.
Absolutely. It's a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring appeal of a timeless finish. Now, are you ready to dive into those 14 steps?
I'm all in. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, so we've established that chrome plating is way more than just dipping. There's a whole 14-step process, and those steps can be grouped into kind of 3 main stages: preparation, plating, and finishing.
Okay, so let's start with the prep work. You mentioned that it's the most time-consuming and expensive part, What exactly goes into it?
Think of it like this. You wouldn't paint a car without prepping the surface first, right? You want to smooth out any dents, sand down any rough spots, and, prime it so that the paint adheres properly.
Makes sense. So what are the, key steps in prepping a part for chrome plating?
First, the part is meticulously cleaned to remove any dirt, grease, or any old plating, and this often involves a series of chemical baths and rinses.
So it's like giving the part a deep clean before its transformation.
Exactly. And then any dents or imperfections need to be addressed. For steel parts, this might involve, hammering, sanding, or even metalworking to restore that original shape.
Wow. So there's some serious craftsmanship involved even before the plating begins.
Absolutely. And once the part is smooth and dent-free, it goes through multiple rounds of sanding and polishing to achieve that mirror-like finish. Remember, chrome can't hide any flaws, so the surface needs to be absolutely perfect.
That's incredible. It sounds like the prep work alone could take days.
It can, especially for large or intricate parts. Remember those 6 to 8 hours we talked about for polishing a car bumper? That's just one step in the prep stage.
Wow. Okay. So once the part is prepped to perfection, it's finally ready for the plating stage, right?
Right. And this is where the electroplating magic happens. It involves submerging the part in a series of chemical baths and using electric currents to deposit those layers of copper, nickel, and finally chrome.
We talked about the role of the copper and nickel earlier, but can you walk us through how those layers are actually applied?
Sure. So the part is first dipped into a copper bath and an electrical current is passed through it. And this causes copper ions from the bath to bond to the surface of the part, creating a thin layer of copper.
So it's like using electricity to build up a layer of metal, atom by atom.
Exactly. And after the copper, it's time for the nickel. The part goes into a nickel bath and the process is repeated, building up a layer of nickel on top of the copper.
And we know that the nickel is really crucial for that shine.
Absolutely. And this is where the difference between, cheap chrome and good chrome really becomes apparent. Cheap chrome plating often uses a thinner layer of nickel to save costs, resulting in a less brilliant and less durable finish.
So it's worth investing in a quality chrome plating job if you want that deep, mirror-like shine that lasts.
Definitely. And finally, after the nickel comes the chrome. The part is dipped in a chromic acid bath, and a very thin layer of chrome is deposited on top of the nickel.
So the chrome is actually the final touch, the cherry on top, so to speak.
Exactly. It adds that final layer of brilliance and protection. And once the chrome plating is complete, it's on to the finishing stage.
Okay. So what happens during the finishing stage?
This stage involves rinsing the part to remove any residual chemicals, then buffing and polishing it to enhance the shine even further. And of course, a meticulous quality control inspection to ensure that the chrome finish meets the highest standards.
So they're really checking for any imperfections, making
Mhm.
sure the shine is consistent and flawless.
Absolutely. And if any issues are found, the part might need to go back for additional polishing or even replating. There's no room for compromise when it comes to quality chrome plating.
It sounds like a very thorough process with multiple checks and balances along the way.
It is. And that's why a quality chrome plating job can be so expensive. It involves specialized equipment, skilled labor, and a lot of time and attention to detail. But the results are worth it. When done right, chrome plating can transform a part, giving it a brilliant mirror-like finish that can last for decades.
It's like taking something old and worn and making it new again, even better than before.
Exactly. And that's part of the magic of classic car restoration, bringing these vintage beauties back to their former glory, and chrome plating plays a huge role in that.
Speaking of bringing things back to their former glory, let's switch gears a bit and talk about stainless steel trim repair. As we mentioned earlier, stainless steel doesn't get chromed, but it still requires specialized techniques to restore its shine.
Right. Stainless steel has its own inherent beauty and durability, and restoring it is all about preserving those qualities.
So how do you go about restoring stainless steel trim? What are the key steps involved?
Well, the first step is similar to chrome plating, assessing the damage. We carefully examine the trim piece, identifying any dents, scratches, or other imperfections.
So it's like giving the trim a thorough checkup before deciding on the best course of treatment.
Exactly. And once the damage is assessed, the real work begins. And this is where the artistry comes in.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about the artistry involved in stainless steel trim repair.
Unlike chrome plating, which involves adding layers of metal, stainless steel trim repair focuses on manipulating the existing metal back to its original form.
So no fillers or welding here. It's all about working the metal itself.
Precisely. Skilled craftspeople use a variety of specialized tools and techniques to gently massage the dents out of the metal, slowly coaxing it back into shape.
It sounds like a delicate dance between force and finesse. What are some of the tools and techniques they use?
Well, they use a combination of hammers, dollies, and specialized files to work the metal, and they often use heat to help make the metal more malleable, allowing them to reshape it more easily.
Hmm.
It's a very specialized skill that takes years of practice to master.
It's amazing how they can reshape those intricate curves and details without damaging the metal.
It's a testament to their skill and patience. And after the dents are removed, the trim piece is carefully sanded and polished to restore its original shine.
So it's like giving the metal a spa treatment, rejuvenating its natural beauty.
That's a great analogy. And when done right, the results are stunning. You can take a piece of stainless steel trim that looks dull and dented and transform it into a gleaming masterpiece.
It's like taking a step back in time, seeing these vintage parts restored to their original brilliance.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of classic car restoration. It's about preserving the past, bringing these timeless designs back to life, and both chrome plating and stainless steel trim repair play a vital role in that process.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the craftsmanship and artistry that goes into restoring these shiny details.
I'm glad to hear that. And before we wrap up, I wanted to mention that there are times when the damage to a piece of trim, whether it's chrome or stainless steel, is simply too severe to repair.
That makes sense. So what happens then?
In some cases, the cost of repair might outweigh the value of the trim piece, or the damage might be so extensive that it's beyond repair. In those instances, we might recommend sourcing a replacement part, or if that's not possible, fabricating a new one from scratch.
Wow. So even fabricating new parts is an option.
Absolutely. Our team at Bluewater Auto Restoration has skilled metal workers who can create